Hello everyone! So this is 5 things that I wish college professors did for when they were teaching programming. Number 1, teach C instead of C++ for your first programming language. Now this may come as an upset to some people, but when you're doing functional beginner programming, C and C++, they're really sort of the same language. That may angry a lot of people, but at least that's the way I found it when I was just learning programming. Number 2, use an actual textbook for teaching programming. Everyone always says if you want to learn programming, you look at K&R, and that's basically a go-to book for an introduction to C for programmers. And I've read through it, and my God, it really is a good book. Like it has tons of examples, shows you some nice standard C library functions. It's just a great all-around book. Number 3, when they in a second course, when they're starting to do object-oriented programming, they should teach you Java instead of object-oriented C++. And let me explain that. Every programming professor I've had has never really been familiar with C++ because for some reason it's not a language that a lot of people are really using nowadays, right? Like the only reason you use C nowadays is really for low-level hardware stuff. So but you always hear a lot of people using Java. So I really feel like it'd be more beneficial to learn Java for object-oriented stuff rather than C++. And when you think about it syntactically, Java is pretty similar to C++. So the learning curve, in my opinion, isn't really that steep. Number 4, to actually go through the process of doing a programming assignment. I've had so many professors just put notes on the board with some example code. They say, if you want to do this, do this. Like if they'll have an example of a function, a variable, a class. And a side note, I suppose, I guess it's a bit of a cliche, but every programming tutorial I've watched online, when they're introducing a class, they'll always use a student as an example. Like, I guess it makes sense because a student class would, I guess, would normally consist of a student ID and a name. But yeah, it's definitely a cliche in the programming tutorial world, I find. Anyway, I just wish like a programming professor really went through the process of writing a program instead of just having a slideshow of example code with really no meaning to it whatsoever. And number 5, when you're doing a programming exam, in my opinion, it really should be on the computer. Like, there's never going to be a situation where you're going to have to handwrite code. Like maybe if you write pseudocode maybe to explain something to your buddy, but there's just never going to be a situation where you're going to have to handwrite code. That doesn't make sense. And I know you might think to yourself, well, if it's on the computer, you could just look up the answers on the internet. Well, just disconnect the computer from the internet. Or something that probably or what you could do is just have a big final programming assignment that covers all the things that you were taught in your first year programming course. And I guess when you think about it, everybody could kind of cheat off each other because they could all look at each other's code. But I guess you could make everybody's assignment unique. But I guess if you've got a class of 100 students, it's probably very challenging, I suppose, to come up with 100 different exams. But anyway, really, programming exams should be on the computer, where you have the compiler. You're given, say, 3 hours to solve a programming challenge. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Anyway, this is then 5 things that I wish programming professors did to